Hi everyone, Hannah here. This is my Module 1. So a little bit about me. I have been with the IU13 for 6.5 years now as an itinerant autistic support teacher. So I work with students on the spectrum. We work on different social skills, social thinking, emotional regulation, and executive functioning. A big part of my job is also consultation with administration, their other teachers to kind of problem solve together as things come up. I'm in the Hempfield School District. I have been at the one middle school for about 3 years, and then this year I also picked up their intermediate center, so I'm excited to get started there. I am working on my master's in assessment, curriculum, and teaching with the focus in online instruction. This is my last class, so I'm very excited to get started. Some personal things about me. I live in Mount Joy with my husband and our dog, Wince. Some hobbies of mine are reading, going to the beach, and baking. So question 1, the most challenging stage. As I watched the video and I read the textbook, in the video after he explained the planning stage, I paused it and took some time to reflect because I was like, this is it. This is going to be the most challenging thing for me. And I watched the rest of the video then, and it was very clear that the planning is going to be the biggest struggle. It honestly reminds me of the beginning of the school year and all the work you put in and all the work I have to do to get my schedule made. I have to figure out my lessons. I have to figure out how I'm going to collect the data, any problems that I think are going to come up, just all the front loading, which is like the biggest stressor to me. So the planning stage is definitely going to be my most challenging because I think the rest of it will all kind of fall together then once the planning's done. And like the big work is where my stress is already at. Question 2, the make action research a part of daily teaching practices. This question kind of made me laugh after I read the text because I was like, oh my goodness, I feel like my whole school year is an action research. So I see my students all one-on-one. I have 26 of them, and my caseload usually grows through the school year. So I have to problem solve, guess and check as I go. So I plan, I implement, I evaluate with my middle schoolers, especially in the spring during the closure. We kind of evaluated together for the online things. All right, what do you want different? What didn't work well? What website link didn't work for you? And that's kind of what stuck out. Maybe I might have sidetracked there. I apologize. As I read, something else that also stuck out to me was this teacher that she felt she needed to be super teacher. She had to, there was so much to do. She needed to get her research done. She still needed to teach her kids. And I was like, okay, it should all come together. We don't want to make our job more difficult. We want everything to kind of mesh and just kind of fall into our normal instruction almost, is how I took it. So I don't really see it as an obstacle, and especially with me, like I collect data all the time. My job is data driven. All my students have IEP goals. So I was like, okay, like I think that's going to fall nicely into everything. Question 3, which story resonates with me more? They both did, but as I got to the second story, I was like, this is it. She is me. And the part that stuck out the most is I will know more about their progress than the simple fact that they failed. And I was like, that's what I do. In an IEP, I write their PLEPs. So in there I have my observations, some consultation, snippets, what I worked with the teachers. I'm not simply throwing a number at mom and dad. Their goal might be set for 90%. They achieved 60. I don't let it at that. I know the nitty-gritty. I know what didn't work, what we have tried, what we're going to continue to try, what worked well, maybe even if it was just for a week. I have all that data right there all the time. I take very large notes with after all my sessions. And, some people might think it's crazy, but they're actually really, really helpful. The other part, which was concerns I have for conducting an action research project. So my student needs are pretty different. I have some students I just do a quick check-in, 10 minutes a week. I have other students I see for 45 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes a week. They're all over the place. A lot of my students have similar goals, but not necessarily the same goal. So kind of meshing something together is going to be interesting. Another concern I have is knowing my students. I take building rapport very seriously, and this year my caseload, which it's like this for every new teacher, but I usually kind of move on with my students. So I'm moving on with my 7th graders I had last year to 8th grade, picking up a new school. I know nothing about these students except for the information I've read in their IEPs. The itinerant that had them last year had resigned, so I can't even necessarily go to her for with any of my questions. So I'm not sure what to expect. I don't really know what I'm walking into, but hey, I also don't know what I'm walking into when I know the students some days. So those are just a few of my concerns. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to working with everyone.